everyone, welcome in or welcome back. It's lovely to see you again, and I hope you guys are doing so very wonderfully. First off, I would like to say thank you so much for 300 subscribers. It blows my mind that there's any support at all for me talking about something that I love so much, and I truly am grateful. Which brings me to today's topic. We are returning to the Bon Bon Pocket series, and if you missed it previously, I did cover the base set of 6 for the series, but for this video, we are going to be taking a look at the hanging card, the hidden, and the virtual dream Recolour, who's going to be pink toned instead of purple. Additionally, because I did get the all-in set, we have a couple bonuses to open. So these little boxes here are going to be the single box bonuses, including the pajama set, extra heels, and the back of the head. And then I also have this longer box, which I believe has a extra base body. Let's go ahead and get to opening them. And starting with this little packet. So it seems like in the first packet we have something of a pajama set. For the components, it starts with this very frilly tank top, and it seems to be made of a couple different types of fabric. We have a gathered ruffle that makes up the center of the bodice, some translucent fabric that adds this flowy element to the bottom. Finally, on the sleeves is a shimmery sort of translucent fabric. That translucent fabric is used for the 2 wrist cuffs, but the wrist cuffs do have these streaks of gold, and they are attached to an elastic. The bottom for the pajama set is a pair of pumpkin shorts, and it seems like they have a little bit of decoration into the fabric, just in terms of textures. So we have a little bit of this braid here, and a couple lines otherwise. There are 2 white bows at the very top, and ruffles going around the waistband. The ruffles around the edges for where the legs go also follow the same as our wrist cuffs. So I'll go ahead and redress my popping candy. Okay, and there's how she looks in the pajama outfit. I think the way that it lays and how frilly it is just makes it so adorable. I think the tiny bit of shimmer from some of the golden accents on the wrist cuffs and also the bottoms of the shorts had a very charming touch to it. The pajama set was also really easy to put on, which is nice. So that's how that looks on her. Setting her off to the side, we'll continue looking through more of our bonuses. So in our next packet, there are a pair of clear shoes, which I quite like. They remind me a little bit of like the jelly shoes or jelly sandals and that kind of thing, but the bulk of the shoe is this clear plastic, and some parts are casted in a color of sort of a light pink or peach toned plastic. So that goes for the heels as well as the straps on the top. These are just clear versions of the shoes that we already get with the dolls. And here are how the shoes look on the actual doll. You can see their toes through the shoes if they're not wearing socks. So the next 3 parts all go together. We have the blank face and the head cap. So this top piece is for the scalp. And then we can put in the face plate. So ready for customs or ready to wear wigs if you'd like to put this on one of the other dolls instead. So having covered what was in the little box, let's go ahead and open the larger one now. So here are the components of the larger box. The base body I have already pretty much covered with the last video, but it seems pretty standard to the dolls that we already got. We have a blank face, but this one does not have eye holes cut out, in addition to the back of the head parts as well. So this was the one that we got in the single box, and this is the one that we got in the larger box. Unfortunately, there is a pretty big scuff on the top of the head in this one. I believe that covers all of the extra bonuses, so not a whole ton, but the quality of everything given is pretty solid. So with the contents of the bonus boxes covered, we can go ahead and take a look at the actual doll. So we're going to go ahead and start with the virtual dream Recolour. There is her character card, and there she is. So I actually really like the pink that they use for her. I find that it's quite warm toned and a little bit peachy, and that's really pretty, and I think it contrasts really nicely with the black. She does seem to be a pretty direct 1-to-1 Recolour, although the gradients are a little bit different in her hair. So while her hair is, of course, mostly pink, it actually fades off into an even lighter white pink, whereas for the default virtual dream, it fades off into a more saturated and slightly deeper purple. The colors of the bows are also different, whereas the original bow is primarily purple and black, with white only being that outer ring on the gem. On our pink Recolour, it is light pink, white, darker pink, and black, and white is used for that center bow. Their hair clips appear to be virtually the same. The faces do appear to be 1-to-1 Recolours, with the pink aspects taking over where purple originally was in the default design, but she does have a lot of those same signature markers, such as the white eyelashes, and her lipstick is also just slightly warmer toned than the original. Now we'll go ahead and open the clothing packet. Here's her top, where the straps are pink, the frill around the opening is also pink, and the decal in the center is black, pink, and white. Here is her choker, where the heart is also recolored to be pink, and this is a slightly cooler pink than the rest of the ones in her design. Her wrist cuffs take on sort of this rose gold color, and I think that this is particularly pretty. Here is her skirt, which is made up of a lot of the same components of having a black underskirt, pink bows, and on the overskirt we have a couple different decals of ruffles, hearts, bows, and these are in varying shades of pink as well as white. Here are the leg warmers, which have the black bow and applique in the center of the ribbon and the heart in a warm toned pink. And finally her shoes, which are primarily pink, the silver buckle, black platforms, and the pink in the front. Okay, so here are the two Virtual Dream colors. Out of the base series of dolls, I do think that this one works really beautifully for a recolor, and I like that while most of these aspects are the same, they do show how different of a vibe you can get just from the primary color used in the design. In my initial video, I had said that I think Virtual Dream to represent something of casual girly, and the purple I think lends itself to also being interpreted as a little bit of a pastel goth. And while I think that that could be true for both of them, adding the warm pink tones really ups that factor of what people might consider casual girly. I would have loved to see a recolor of Paradise Lost also, which was the Lolita doll, but considering that Virtual Dream was also a character where a lot of her outfit is reliant on the appliques that are on her design, whether that be the decal on her shirt or her skirt or her leg warmers, and thus a lot of her character is carried by color, I think that she made for a very cute choice, and I think the both of them look really, really adorable together. Out of the base set of dolls, this was my least favorite outfit, but I think having them in their twinning outfits makes them significantly cuter. They both make for beautiful dolls, but I think together they just look so pretty. The other thing that I did notice while I was dressing her up, so the gathering around this middle section here that is supposed to help keep it in place seems just a little bit loose, so they were sliding off a little bit as I was dressing them. I'm very happy with how these two look overall, and I think that about covers my thoughts on them, so I think we'll go ahead and open the hidden next. The dolls also do come with the regular sets of hands, which I do go over in my original video, so we'll go ahead and set these off to the side. There is her character card. Oh my god, this doll is so beautiful. So we'll start by covering her hair, which is this white color and has the slightest tint of blonde. In several parts of her hair, it does fade off into sort of a light sea blue, and that includes the ends of her bangs, the ends of these side framing braids, as well as the ends of her twin tails and the center of her hair bun. Her hair is parted in the center, and then the backside is tied back with more braids framing the buns. The buns are then tied off into these two extra loops before fading off into the twin tails. Finally, to decorate the top of her head is a hairband made out of pearls. Now, I do want to note something that I have heard among friends is that her hair seems to be quite fragile around this section here where it connects to the buns. While I'm not noticing much of a gap for mine, I do want to note that as a potential area to be careful with. Moving on to her face up, she has blushing in her ears, around her eye creases and eyebrows, on her chin, and I believe there's a little bit on her cheeks and the tip of her nose. The eye creases, cheek lines, and mouth are drawn in sort of a dark toasted orange color. She has blue lashes and very rectangular irises with an inner outline and some lighter lines going all along the inside as highlights, and that lighter blue that highlights her eyes is also used to highlight her eyelashes. Her eyebrows are drawn in a darker blue. Now this doll is called Pearl Tears, and appropriately she does come with a bottle of B7000 as well as several little pearl gems which you can attach to her face. I believe that these would probably be too likely to fall off if they had attached them during manufacturing, but this way you can also decide whether you want to put them on her or not. Now I will admit I have a little bit of poor dexterity when it comes to trying to apply glue, so while I think the concept is beautiful and probably looks absolutely gorgeous, I am going to set this aside for now so that I don't spill glue all over my filming mat. Moving on to the shoes, she does use the same sculpt as all the other dolls, but hers are in a very light blue, and the straps on the top are white as well as the buckle, and there is a blue snap at the end of the buckle there. Now here is her outfit. Oh, and her outfit is quite detailed. There are a lot of components to it. So her dress is just one piece and uses so many layers here. It's really quite beautiful, the construction of it. Starting at the top, we have the two straps, which are a light blue frill and elastic, and that does extend down into the bodice at the point which which they meet with the bodice, there are 2 little angel wing beads. The bodice is primarily this translucent fabric and does have a layer of frills around the opening for the chest. After the bodice, there is a layer of white mesh to form the first layer of ruffles. The second layer of ruffles is in a blue tulle. Following that is another layer of blue tulle, but longer. Underneath, we have a built-in petticoat, and there is a gathering of ruffles at the top in a white fabric, and the white fabric that is used for the rest of these do have the slightest shimmery effect to them. But following that gathered section at the top is a longer layer of white fabric, and that makes up the skirt. She does have a shimmery corset with 2 pearls in the center to act as buttons, and in the back it is just held together with Velcro. There's the tiny little neck collar. It appears that these 2 pieces of fabric make up her arm warmers, and they do have frills at the top and the bottom of them, and there is also elastic on both ends. And then she does have this train, which is composed of this beautiful bow at the top, and it has a couple different segments here. So we have 3 different bows on the top that lead out into the tails of them, and the train itself is made out of this tulle that is slightly off-white. At the very edge of the train is also a little bit of a ruffle as well, and just the piece of fabric to attach them to it. Finally, for her legs, rather than having socks, she has these 2 long strips of ribbons. Okay, so having went over all of her components, let's go ahead and get her dressed up. Okay, and there she is all dressed up, and I have to say, I really love this doll. I love the different components on her. She was also very easy to dress up, and one thing that I could appreciate in particular was that the train was attached via a safety pin and not by having it tied. My abilities to tie bows is a little bit lacking, I will admit, as proven by her ribbons on her legs. So that certainly simplifies it and in general makes it look a lot cleaner by having it on the safety pin instead. I think she's really beautiful, and I love all of the different finishes on her outfit. How there's tulle and how there's kind of these more matte pieces that have just a tiny bit of shimmer on different light, and I really love the pearls. Now you might have noticed that when I was talking about the corset, it had more pearls than there are now, and one of them did pop off while I was dressing her up. I will reaffix it with the B7000 later on, but for now I've just tucked it away into the bag with the rest of her pearls. But I just think she's absolutely beautiful. She has such a melancholic look to her, and that sort of stoicism and mysterious atmosphere makes her a very charming character. I think that she was very fitting to have as a hidden. Again, I didn't have any issues with her hair seeming particularly fragile. I think it is probably a good idea to take it off and leave it off for the remainder of your time dressing her up, and then putting it back on at the end so that you're not putting unnecessary force onto any parts that might be more fragile or prone to breaking off. I also like that while the pearl tears are definitely going to look very cute if I ever decide to put them on, that her face up is really quite beautiful even without them. Again, I also have to applaud the fact that despite every doll looking so different and having different themes and motifs, that they all look so beautifully cohesive as a set because they all take such different stylistic choices. And she really does a great job at wrapping up all of those ideas and being the hidden of the set. So with her covered, I'll go ahead and set her off to the side and we'll take a look at the hanging card. So there she is in her box. I have the saturation boosted a little bit on my camera, so she is not quite so red in person. Clear window here is really quite beautiful. I love the sort of shape of the window and everything that they have, but we'll go ahead and rip her open now. I was like, what are all these extra clothing parts that are in here? So it seems that Cherry has put my clothing order in the box to keep them safe. Thank you very much, Cherry. Let's go over that really quick, just for fun, shall we? These are all come-for-free outfits. I have the Apollo outfit. I got the little sugar crisp one. I got this cute little apron. And I got the little party bunny. Yay! That's fun. I didn't know these were in here. I usually set all my boxes aside until it's time to open them up for videos, so I didn't open this until now. And there is her character card. I think her aloofness makes her look so cute. Okay, so this is the first star hanging card. I did turn the saturation of my camera down to its default settings, but I think she still comes across as much more red than she looks in person. Now she does come with all of our hand options. Compared to how the hands on her look by default, these do look much shinier which I am not really a fan of how they look. The shininess does kind of cheapen the way that they look. I would be curious if spraying them down with perhaps a light matte or satin varnish would make them look a little less shiny, but as it is, they do look slightly cheaper than everything else because they are so glossy for whatever reason, which was not really a quality that I noticed much on all of the light toned ones. In any case, so we have first star here. So we'll go ahead and start by looking at her hair, which at the top is sort of a light gray and fades off into white. It's almost kind of silvery, but it's not shimmery at all. Rather, I think that the two-toned colors do give it a little bit more depth. She has it quite short and a little bit messy in the way that it all sticks out at the bottom, but I think this short curly hair looks really, really cute. Following a lot of the other dolls, she has a pretty aloof expression. Most of her features are drawn in black, including her eyebrows, her eye creases, her eyelashes, and her mouth, but her eyes themselves are kind of a gray color with dark gray at the top for shadowing and a small white highlight on each side. As far as extra items go, she does come with the pieces to give her the back of her head, as well as a blank open-eyed faceplate. She also comes with a pair of headphones. Now, perhaps because I had left these in the box for so long, they are a little bit squished, and the plastic does feel quite weak, particularly in the top section here. Even though they feel quite flimsy, it doesn't seem like they have broken anywhere. For the headphones, the top of the headphone rest here is black. She has silver where the extended bits are, black for the section that connects to the headphones themselves, and for the ear sections, they have a little bit of detailing. They do have the indented spot for where ears go, and a large silver star on the outsides. Her shoes are entirely gray with a metallic buckle and metallic silver snap on the side. So for her clothing, it starts with this cropped tank top that says "Weird Cute Girls" in black and gray. She has two little leather wrist cuffs. I would love to know what this style of pants is called, but she does have a pair of what seems like jean shorts. And in the front here, she does have this leather strap here that seems to connect down into the pant legs. The pant legs are kind of an interesting fabric, though I don't know what it is. It's a little bit thin and somewhat plasticky in nature, but they are gathered and ruffled along the center seam, and in the middle of them where the knees are these silver stars. For this silver star, it is attached to a safety pin and is slightly plushy. She then has this scarf, which is striped black and white, and at the end have some more of these squishy silver stars. And then, adorably, she has this plush, fluffy bag. It is shedding a little bit of fur in some places, but it has a super fluffy shoulder strap, and then the actual star itself has all of this fluffy trim to make the larger star and a silver star in the center. It seems like they use like almost a clip to give it structure in the back. I don't really know the point of opening it, but that's pretty cool. And that gives it the structure that it needs. So that about covers all of her components, so let me go ahead and get her dressed up. There she is all dressed up. She is so cute in this style. I love the way that they contrast the black with the white and all of the silver decals. I think that looks really pretty. I think that it is such a good thing that they made a dark skin doll available, and also available for purchase without having to pull from the blind set. Now, I'm aware that there's always things about how darker skin dolls don't sell as well, and for that reason, a lot of companies don't really include them. But I think that there's something really important in being able to represent multiple people, especially in a line like this, where they're representing different styles of fashion, with fashion being a way that people use for self-expression and for their own confidence. I think that it's really important to be able to see characters who have traits that reflect you in them. The bottom line of what I mean to say is that I think that they did a really phenomenal job with her, and I think that she's so beautiful. I love the contrasting colors, and I love the style that they gave her. This kind of style also branching into something of Y2K fashion, and I love the textures that they put into her clothing in terms of like there is a little bit of the texture on her shirt and the pants and the leather straps, and then the super crinkly pants that I don't know if I like the texture of, but I think they look very nice, and all the fluffy bits. I think she's a really beautiful doll, and I'm very happy that she was offered among the set for characters who are representing themselves through fashion. So with all that said, here is our final lineup of the bonus dolls, which included First Star as the hanging card, Pearl Tears as the hidden, and the pink recolor of Virtual Dream. As a whole, I think that this set of dolls were probably some of my favorite dolls that I've ever bought. I think that their clothes are so beautiful, I think the base dolls are so lovely, and even though I have preferences for things like inset eyes, I just loved the stylistic choices made for their face-ups. I would absolutely love if they put out more clothing options or a season 2. Oh god, I would buy a season 2 of these so fast. Give me 7 more of these. And I'm really excited to see what Bon Bon Pocket has in store for this series in the future, whether that be representing more subgenres of fashion or taking it into a different direction. I thought that they were so lovely and so beautiful, and I'm really happy that I was able to get the full set and share them all with you. And I hope you guys liked them too. I would love to know your thoughts on these dolls, or even which one you preferred out of the set overall. I look forward to hearing what you guys all think about it, and these were very high quality dolls that were absolutely beautiful in execution and in style. So I'll go ahead and leave you guys with that. Hopefully you enjoyed opening the set with me as well. I'll see you next time, whether that be in a stream or a video. And thank you guys again so much for 300 subscribers. I'm really looking forward to continuing my journey, opening more dolls and sharing them with you. Okay, bye bye!